What's up everyone, this is the 2023 Genesis GV70 midsize SUV. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, shall we? All right, looking at the front of the car, the first thing you'll notice is this double headlight style headlight. So on the top you have your low beams, and at the bottom you have your high beams, along with the turn signals here. On the front of the car we have this huge grille here. Not as big as BMW's grille, not yet. We'll see in a few years if they start making it bigger. And then you have these little plastic vents here that don't go to anything. You have your real vent here and then a little splitter design here. There is a front camera right here, so you can see the front of the car as well, which is really nice. Then you have your little sensors here all around, and then your front collision sensor there. Looking at the wheels, this car is the Sport Prestige model, so it has these large 21-inch rims, which look pretty nice, as you can see here. Looking at the side of the car, you have a pretty small profile. It's not too large, it's a mid-size SUV. You have a little small mirror right here that doesn't really open, then your main mirrors here, and you have your gas cap on the left side of the car. And yeah, overall it has a pretty nice design. This is like a little glossy trim piece up here, which is pretty cool. It has like the shark fin antenna at the top. So looking at the back of the car, you have your wiper and window here. You have this little design that kind of tapers off there, which is really nice. And you have your tail lights, which have the same double design as the front. So it's really unique in my opinion. Like, you'll know these cars, whether it's the sedan model or this model, that is a Genesis, just from this design. And you have your Genesis logo here, and this little plastic piece here. One funny thing about this is the exhaust. There's two exhausts, and they're huge. Like, they're huge. That's so funny. And then you have your little splitter down here, and then the reverse lights are down here as well. And then also down here you have your backup camera. Since we're back here, let me show y'all the trunk button, which is hidden kind of actually. So this is the trunk button right here, and you press it and it opens the trunk. That's pretty cool. So this is the trunk. It's actually a fairly large trunk. It's not bad. And the nice thing is you can put the seats down. Over here in the corner, we have a 12-volt port. So you can put some stuff here. And then we have these little anchors here. We have a little net here to put stuff. And then up here, these are to put the seats down. So you just do this and the seat goes down like that. Now this right here is a cover for your trunk to basically hide what you have in there. So you just do it like this. This costs $200 as an option. It's not standard, by the way. And then right here, we have this little cool handle. So you push this down, lift it up. And there's a smart compartment here. You could put a bunch of things here. And then when you lift this whole thing up, you have your jack here, and there's a spare tire under here, which is nice. You don't really see spare tires these days too much. Up here, you have two options. You can lock the car and close it, or just close it by pressing this button. So it just comes down automatically. So it's an automated tailgate. All right, so this car has comfort access. You come up to it and you put your hand here and it unlocks the car. You can also touch it here to lock the car like that, and the mirrors fold as well. All right, looking at the door, this is how it looks. We have our leather up here on the top, and then the rest of these are plastic. We do have an aluminum trim here. So we have our speaker, our metal door handle, and these are the driver positions for the seat, so you can set two different positions. And then up here we have the adjustments for the left and right mirrors on the side. You can adjust them here. This button, when you press it, the mirror folds and unfolds. Then we have our unlock lock button. These are for the four windows. And then here you have two buttons. So this one is for the windows to lock it so that people in the back can't open and close them. And this is pretty cool. This is a child lock. So if you turn this on, the people in the back can't open them, and then you can just turn it on and off electronically, which is really cool. And then for water bottles and such, this is a little Starbucks tumbler. As you can see, that's about as big as a tumbler as you can fit in here. It could be a little bit longer up to here, but standard size. So this is the seats. You have your leather here, leather pieces here, and then this is cloth and this is cloth, which is very interesting. So yeah, and then the seat color is the blue color interior. It does not look how it does on their website. On the website it looks very blue, but in real life it's a very subtle blue, which is actually really nice. And you have your red stitching here. Your seat belt is red because you're gonna go fast in this car. All right, so we have a bunch of controls here. So this control, if you push it, as you can see, this piece goes up and down. So it comes out instead of going like this, it actually comes out like that. This piece here is obviously to go forward and back. You can also push it up and down to raise the height of the seat. And then this is, of course, the top portion here that goes forward and back. And then here you have your lumbar support function. So when you press these, it's the parts right here. And then this will go over in a second. This is like the seat massage. All right, so one thing that's not automated about the seat is this little headrest. You have to push the button and manually push it up and down, which was kind of interesting considering this has a bunch of other powered features, but that's something to know. All right, so this is the inside of the car. As you can see, it looks very premium actually. So let's go over everything. As the first thing that we're gonna notice is the steering wheel. It's actually a very nice steering wheel, pretty high quality. You have like this nice stitch area here in the middle, and you have a bunch of buttons here, so you can control the instrument cluster with these buttons here. You have some safety features here. And then over here you have the mode for the radio or different things there, volume. You can change the track, answer calls, favorites, voice command here. So that's that. And of course your horn is here. You do have these paddle shifters. So if you want to shift in sport mode, you can do that. All right, looking over here, we have a few buttons. So here we have the auto on off. This is when the engine turns on and off. It's quite annoying, so I recommend turning it off. You have your brightness for the interior here, traction control. All right, then down here we have our emergency brake, and then this is for the trunk to open it. Here we have the control for the tilted steering wheel. So you can bring the steering wheel closer to you, you could bring it back, you could bring it higher or lower. So mine was already at the highest setting, so there's that. All right, over here we have our stock on the right side. So you have your wipers, you can change everything here. This is plastic, and then this is also technically plastic, but it's like an aluminum looking design here, which is kind of cool. And then on this side, you have your turn stalks, and I'll show you on the second one the cool features on the instrument cluster. All right, let's go ahead and start the car here. So the first thing you'll notice is there's a digital instrument cluster right there. This is actually a 3D cluster, and it's pretty hard to see on the camera, but the cluster is kind of inside. And then over here we have our display. It's a quite large display. You get to select your drivers in the beginning here. And this is the home screen. We'll go over this in a second actually. So up here we have our dash. It looks very nice and feels pretty premium as down here as well. And we have our red stitching, which is really nice. Our engine on off button is right here. And this is pretty cool. This is a fingerprint reader. So you can actually put your fingerprint here and start the car without a key, which is really cool. And then over here we have our climate control system. So this is for the temperature, and then as you can see there's a digital number right here, and then you can do the cooled seats, and you can also do heated seats, which is pretty cool. You have your AC, and then this is for the steering wheel. Heated steering wheel, there's 2 levels, so the steering wheel is also heated, all controlled from the cluster here. And then of course you can change other things here. You have your defroster, auto, rear defroster, synchronized to the back, circulation and whatnot. So I'm just going to turn this off. So down here we have our buttons. So this is the map button. Pressing this brings up the map, and then you have a navigation button, which is kind of ironic because they're a little redundant. This one you can search for stuff. This one brings up the literal map. You have your favorites here that you can customize to bring out a few things. You have your warning triangle here, and then you have radio. You have your media here, which is your own media from your phone and stuff, and then the setup here is the setup for the car. All right, so this right here is our instrument cluster. So as you can see, you have a bunch of information. On the left side you have your miles per hour, right side is your RPM, you have your fuel on the left and your temperature on the right, and a bunch of other information. Now you can actually move the jog dial on the steering wheel, and as you can see there's a bunch of different information here that you can check, tire pressure and whatnot. Now one of the interesting things, and then here you have your torque and everything. You can add stuff too. Now, I kind of like the awareness, attention level here. So there's a sensor right about up here that checks your eyes to see if you're actually paying attention, and it warns you if you're not paying attention, which is kind of funny. So one of the cool things is when you put the left turn stock and the right turn stock, it gives you a live video of the blind spots, which is pretty cool. I really like this feature, and I wish most new cars had this. All right, so down here you have a USB. It's just super speed USB, which is pretty interesting. I'm assuming this is for multimedia. And then you have a powered USB here for charging your devices. And this is the wireless charger, so you can actually slip your phone in here. So you put your phone in there, and as you can see, it's wirelessly charging. The light turns on when it's charging. And down here you have 2 cup holders that can hold drinks, and it secures them quite well thanks to these little fingers here that holds it. All right, so down here we have a few things. This is the gear selector. So you actually rotate it right for drive and then left for reverse. You can do it into the middle like this to go into neutral if you want. But yeah, then the parking is this button here. So that's the park mode. Here we have our little controller. This reminds me a lot of BMW's iDrive controller. So you can go left, right. You can actually go up, down, and then left, right, and push inside as well, which is pretty cool. Here you have your auto hold on and off button. Here you have the back, home, and menu button. And then this right here are your jog dials or volume. You can also push it in and out to turn on and off the radio or audio, I guess. And then here you have your FM, AM, tune the different stations. It can also be used to zoom in and out of the map. Over here you have your sensors for the parking to turn them on and off, so you want them on. And then this button here is the cameras. So you press this, and as you can see a picture of the car, the backup camera, and you can see a picture of the car 360. Now what's really cool about this is there's actually multiple modes. So you have this mode right here, which is useful for parking, and then you have this mode here, which is useful also for parking. And then one of my favorites is this feature here. So this feature is a 3D image of the car. So let's say I want to park up in front. I would literally just go like this, and the car moves with you, which is pretty cool. So I really like this feature here. And then, of course, you can use your 360 view on the right side to see as well to park. These are the driving mode levers right here. So I'll show you in a second what that does. As you can see at the instrument cluster. All right, so these are the driving modes. You have Snow, Eco, Comfort, Sport, and then Sport Plus. And as you can see, when you do these, the dials change up a bit. And then here we have the armrest. So if you open it up, you have this little tray here that can be moved around. I just lied, it can't be moved around, it has to stay here. You have this tray that opens up right here, and then you have a little space. Now, there's a little bit of space down here. It's not too much, but there is a little bit of extra space here, which is kind of cool. You want to hide your drugs and stuff. Here we have our visor. So clicks into place. Then we have a little mirror here. Just want to see how you look. And then you put it over here like this. And it extends, of course, which is very useful. Up here we have our sunglass holder here. So you can put your sunglasses in there. And then we have a bunch of lights here, which is really nice. And then your SOS button. And then this is the button to contact Genesis, I believe. And then here we have the button for our panoramic roof. So if you press this, that's a pretty fast panoramic roof, not gonna lie. And then it's gonna open about that much. So it doesn't open any more than this, which is unfortunate. It'd be kind of cool if it opens all the way. One really cool thing is there's a windscreen here, which is nice. All right, next let's go into the back seats. So there's back doors right here. Now, it's very similar to the front. The main difference is you have this shade. It's manually powered, it's not automatic. But you can put it up there and have some shade in the back, which is nice. You have a very small little cupboard here, lock, unlock, window, and then speaker and the door handle. Aluminum trim here again. All right, let's see how much room we got in the back to sit down. So, all right, so I'm sitting in the back and the seat is all the way back, so that's why it kind of looks like there's not that much room, but there's a decent amount of room, definitely more than a sedan, of course. And then, of course, we have our race red seat belts here. So overall, the room is good. Headroom is not bad. You have plenty of room up here. And then in the middle seats, so it's not flat here. So if you're in the middle, you either sit like this or you get to sit like this, which is super uncomfortable. Up to you. You do have a climate system back here. All right, and then right here, we have our little armrest. So you pull it out. You have two cup holders here. And then of course you could put your arm here. So pretty standard in most cars. Then up here, you have your handles. And then we have a little light, so if you want to read in the back in the dark, you can do that. All right, so another cool thing is these buttons here. You can actually move the seat forward and back. So if you want to mess with the passenger in front of you, you can do that. And then this one adjusts that. There's not one for the driver for obvious reasons, but of course, if you want to bully the passenger in front of you, you have those buttons there. All right, so back here we have our climate system. So obviously you can turn it on and off here. So it's pretty powerful. You have your controls here. Then you can do it for your feet or front right here, which is nice. And then down here, you have two USB Type A ports, which is interesting considering this is a 2023 model. It would be nicer if one was A, one was C. And then here, this is pretty cool. You have a AC input, so you can charge your laptop or whatnot. It's only 150 watts though, so don't hook up a gaming laptop like I would. All right, so looking under the hood, this is a 2.5 turbo engine. And it produces 300 horsepower. Now, I'm not a huge fan of turbo engines in terms of reliability, so I don't know how reliable this is going to be in the future. But if you do get the other model, the other one is a 3.5 twin turbo, which makes 375 horsepower. But yeah, this is a cute little 4-cylinder engine. All right, next we're going to go for a drive to see how the car feels and how everything is. Now, right off the bat, I can tell you that the car is pretty quiet, which is good. You want a quiet rides. It's This car is a bit pricey. I'll tell you at the end how much it cost. And there's someone speeding really badly. Okay. In terms of handling, it's not bad. It's a mini SUV, so it's not gonna be like a sports car, but it's not bad. Total road noise is also non-existent, which is good. It's, like I said, it's a really quiet ride. It's not bumpy either. It's very smooth, which is good. The auto on-off is, I hate that so much. All right, next, let's put this thing in the sport mode and see what happens. This is sport mode. All right, ready, and let's go. Not bad. One thing to note is when you're in sport mode, it keeps the RPMs higher for longer. So if you're in sport mode, you're gonna waste a lot of gas. As you just heard that truck was pulling up and it was warning me that it's gonna crash. All right, so next let's go onto the highway. All right, so on the side view mirrors, there's a blind spot detection. As you can see, it just turned on because there's a car next to me. It's really bright actually, which is kind of surprising. I like that it's like a little triangle icon. And then when the car passes, it turns off, so that's pretty cool. All right, so next let's test out the lane assist. So I just wanna see if I drift out of my lane, what happens. Interesting, so it corrected it and it tells me to keep my hand on the steering wheel. Let's try that one more time. I'm gonna go this way and see what happens. Yep, it's automatically correcting, it went that way. And now it's telling me there's a car coming here. There's a warning triangle saying that there's a car next to me. But yeah, that was pretty cool. So it does work. It's very subtle. It's hard to tell that it's actually doing it. All right, so you're gonna press this button here, and we're gonna do smart parking. And now you're gonna press and hold the park button, and it's going to, oh, it's gonna mess up. It's gonna mess up. Let's see. Oh, it's working this time. So as you can see, it's taking its time. So if you ever do this in a real live street, you're probably gonna get honked at. But you know, at least it's trying. It's slow. It's I'll show you how it looks once it's done. It's not on the line. It's completely on the other person's area. All right, so that's it says it's done. So let's step outside the car and let me show you all how bad the parking job is. As you can see, this is how the remote parking did. And it's not that great, but I guess it's better than nothing. All right, so if you press lock and you hold this button to remote start the car, it starts up, and then if you hold the park button to park forward, it'll automatically move by itself. So as you can see, the car is moving by itself, basically to where we originally started. All right, so this is the lock screen or home screen. So one cool thing is it's actually touchscreen. This is the main menu. Looks kind of familiar, doesn't it, guys? BMW iDrive. Okay. Anyways, so this is the main menu. You have your maps, media. It's kind of funny. Some of these are like redundant. Like you have navigation menu and map. You have this Sirius XM media. You know. Yeah, so it feels a little redundant. Anyways, we're gonna go over everything. So for the map, this is how it looks. So you have your main map, and then on the right side is like, you can actually change this to different views. So these are widgets. So you can change everything here. And then on this side, so a split screen view basically. And on this side, since it's touchscreen, it's better just to do this. So you can put a destination here. All right, so what you can do here is actually type on this, and then it'll show up there. So you can do this. Or of course, you can just type on here. So you just type in Starbucks. It's up to you which way you want to do it. But yeah, so you can type here, which is pretty cool. All right, so next we have the Sirius XM. This is the Sirius XM radio. Subscription not included. It is with the new car, but it expires after a while. Media, basically you can do all this. So you can do videos from USB. There's a radio, AM, Android Auto, CarPlay. Sounds of nature, this is kind of funny. So if you click this, you can play soothing this rainy day. So it's soothing music, HD radio data. This is a few things such as traffic and fuel prices. Phone is just Bluetooth and stuff. Connected services. So here you have weather, which for some reason never loads anymore. We'll look into that later. There's a few other things here. This is a subscription service, so you just have to pay for it. Luckily, it's included, as you can see, for the first few years of ownership. Here we have CarPlay, so you can also do Android Auto. From what I can tell, this is not wireless. It's only wired. I couldn't get it to work wirelessly, and I believe it's only a wired system, which is unfortunate for a brand new car, but it still works really well. It's very responsive. Oh, and of course, it's touchscreen. So that's really nice. And then you click Genesis to go back. And then here we have voice memo. So you can record. This is actually useful if you get pulled over. So you can just start recording while you're pulled over in case, things don't go right. Setup menu. So there's a lot of options here. We're just going to go very quickly over them. So under vehicle, you have driver assistance. When you click this, there are a bunch of different features here. As you can see, there's convenience, forward safety, speed limits, lane safety, the blind spot, parking, and driver attention warning. So let's just click one of these to show you what it shows. So here there's active assist, warning only or off. Basically, it'll either do something or just warn you and rely on you to do it. And then drive mode, here you can change different things. So for example, in custom, you can change the powertrain. There are different modes here. And then steering is same, comfort, sports, and then here you have your driving. Active sound design, so this is kind of funny. You can turn this off. Basically, this is the engine sound effect. It plays the engine sound effect through the speakers. Smallest change, I believe, is default. So you can also turn it off completely, or if you want the largest, you can listen to it. So this one is the instrument cluster, and here's the 3D depth feature. So it's going to be impossible to put this on the camera, but if you ever had a Nintendo 3DS, just imagine a Nintendo 3DS screen and you turning on the slider all the way or in the middle. It's literally just like that. So no 3D glasses needed, nothing like that. Then there's a welcome sound for climate. You have lots of options here. I'll just go over these real quick like this so you can see. Pretty cool. Seats, you also have some things for the seats. And then lights, so ambient lighting, I'll show you all this right now. So if you look here, so there's a bunch of different lights. So there's white, purple, red, brown. There's a few different blue greens of different shades. And yeah, you can change it. It's not full RGB, but there's a lot of different colors to choose from, which should be more than enough for anyone. I'm going to leave it on red since it matches the red stitching in the car. Next, we have the one touch turn signal. So you can change it from 7, 5, 3 flashes or none. So if you lightly tap the turn signal instead of fully pressing it, it does this. And then you have some other options here. Door and lift gate. So there's a few options here. As you can see, you can make the lift gate speed fast or slower. So that's pretty cool. And there's also a height. So you can change what height that it opens at. So full open opens all the way, but if you want to open it lower, there's also those options. This is useful if you open your tailgate in the garage a lot. So if it hits the top, you can change that. Digital key, so there's a few different ways to do it. There is a card key that comes with the car. It's a little credit card looking card. And then smartphone key is from your phone. So you can hook it up to your phone and unlock the car through your phone. Convenience, it'll tell you if there's people in the back seat, which is kind of funny. Service interval, oil change reminder, and then you can turn wireless charging on and off. And then auto rear wiper. Then here we have navigation. I'm just going to scroll through these real quick just so y'all can see what's here. It's just the things on the maps. And then sound. So this one does have the premium sound. So that's kind of nice. And then here you have your sound settings, so you can change the tone. There's voice guidance, and then radio noise. You can try to filter out the radio sound, so there's less noise. That's really cool, actually. I don't listen to the radio, unfortunately. And then you have driver assistance and connected drive, so these are different audios. And then device connections, so this is just for your phone. You can add, obviously, a bunch of devices here. And then user profiles, this is basically where you can add multiple users, and what it will do is all the settings for the mirrors, the seats, and other features here. As you can see, fingerprint, password, profile, everything is here, so that's pretty cool. And that's basically it for setup. And then we have valet modes, some seat adjustments here. So there's some seat controls here that you can do. Quiet modes is like a do not disturb, and then climate. So you can actually change the climate from here as well. I can actually turn it on here instead of pressing it down here, which I don't see why you'd want to do that. But there are some settings here, as you can see, that you can change. Notifications, and then a manual. And this is it's a QR code here, but there are a few things that it does show you. So you can, like, for example, if I click vehicle, let's do driver's seat, it shows you pictures. All right, next the massage function. So when you press the button here, as you can see, there's a bunch of options. There's lumbar, there's whole body, and there's off. So it's basically like a full seat massage, which is pretty cool. You can change the settings here. So there's the stretch, basically how long you want the session to be, and then how strong you want it to be. So this is really cool, and it's really useful if you're stuck in traffic as well. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about the price. The total price on the car is $57,975 with all the packages. The base MSRP is $42,900. So the prestige package was $12,800, and then there's a cargo package which has the net and the other things, mud flaps and stuff. That one was $255. So out the door it was around $63,000 around there, which is a lot of money, but you have to think about it that's after it's basically fully loaded. Now the competitors such as the X3 and then the Mercedes and stuff, they also cost around a similar price once you spec them up. But in my opinion, this car punches a little bit above its weight just because the quality feels better. For example, if you make a BMW X3 for the same spec, the interior does not feel as nice. This car definitely feels more like a higher class car, and for the price you get a pretty good deal. Now, one thing to mention is this car has a 5-year 60,000 mile warranty on basically everything. It has a 10-year 100,000 mile powertrain warranty, and then it comes with 3-year 36,000 maintenance as well, all included. When you factor in all that, it's actually a pretty good price. So overall, I would say that this is actually a pretty good car for the money. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of Hyundai and Genesis from back in the day on their older cars, but I have to admit that these recent years, they've really come up. They've made a huge leap in their exterior design and interior design along with the electronics. So if you're looking for a Genesis, this is actually a really good car. With that said, hopefully I'll have some more car videos for y'all who watch car videos. Subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.